Hof Experience biggest takeaways, the mind. Hi, I'm William Fuller, certified massage therapist, wellness educator, and founder of Vision Body Mind. And just a few days ago, I was at the Wim Hof Experience here in downtown San Francisco, and highly recommend it to anybody that's considering it. Stop considering it, just book the tickets and go. If you haven't gone and you're just finding out about this, then please sign up to their newsletter, and then that way you'll get information for the next tour dates that are coming up. It's one thing I'm learning over and over again. It's one thing to be doing these practices in our home from behind our computer screens, but it's a whole nother thing where you connect with 200-300 other people, especially when you're jumping in ice baths, doing particular breathing exercises, which is a very powerful experience, doing half an hour of breathing meditation with 200-300 other people. Very amazing, but certainly something I highly recommend. If you get a chance to head over there, please do. And in the series here, I've recorded a few other videos called the Wim Hof Experience. The first one, I was looking at what I noticed about breathing, where they talked about how we restrict it in through the rib cage. How do we get this moving before we do our breathing exercises? Number 2 video I did was about the ice baths, and my biggest takeaway with the ice baths is indeed, let's just look to start just by doing one a week, just for a couple of minutes, but then how do we focus afterwards, and that the ice bath is actually the easy component, but how now do we deal with that afterwards, and how do we start to incorporate that into our lives? And the third one, which is I'm going to be looking at today, is talking about the mind, and it is a little bit related to the ice baths. For me in particular, I'm trying to work with some chronic inflammation in the eyes after a boxing injury. But I also find for me what the cold does, it really does allow me to focus my mind. Here in San Francisco, it's a little bit hard to get cold showers. Maybe in the I was gonna say the dead of winter, but that's a bit of a strong word here in San Francisco. At its coldest, it's still not overly cold, but I can kind of get that sense of as if it is cold to focus the mind. But when I'm back in the UK, visiting friends, family, and doing workshops there, then the cold there is really cold, and I really have to quiet the mind and focus on what I'm doing with my breathing technique and keeping the body fully engaged while I'm doing that. So for me, the cold component really is also part of a mind component. But one thing that was very interesting, two big takeaways as far as the mind was concerned, is the beginning intro, Wim was talking about trying to take control of the mind, and how over the years the mind has just kind of taken control of our society and what we're doing, and his goal is to try and to get us to take that control back again. And a real interesting thing that stuck with my mind is how we talked about how this kind of cerebral brain, the frontal cortex, we're doing this thinking, which is definitely something that I'm very good at. But from a physiological point of view, what he's talking about is that all that blood flow is then being headed up into the front of the brain, and all that thinking is going there, as all the energy is going to the brain as well, and we're burning up fuel, and we're creating carbon dioxide, so we're burning up the oxygen, creating then the waste product, the carbon dioxide, from this excessive thinking that we're doing. So what he's trying to talk about is how do we quiet the mind, how do we shift that focus away from the cerebral thinking. But what he's now going a step further, what he's saying is, well, then that blood redirects to somewhere else. And what that's redirecting to is these more primitive parts of the brain, which are so essential for keeping up and maintain the physiology of the body. So this goes massively in line with my work that I'm talking about with better posture, trying to get back to the hunter-gatherer body, and how misaligned we are with the body by being hunched over a computer screen all day. It's not to say that you're doing anything wrong, but the question is how do we now learn about this stuff so that it's not so detrimental to our health, just like what he's talking about. Overthinking, excessive thinking, which then we're talking about stress, anxiety. It's burning up a lot of fuel, we're wasting a lot of energy. But then he's also going one step further by saying that it's taking oxygen away from the rest of the body and the brain that is essential for keeping it nice and healthy and happy. But then it's also being diverted to somewhere else, which is to the thinking. A very interesting thing that Dr. Tricia Smith said, who was one of the keynote speakers there at the Wim Hof Experience, is she was talking about when you're breathing, when you do the breathing exercise and you're holding your breath, to be focusing the mind more to that primitive part of the brain, more of a interoceptive, which is the second point that I'm going to be talking about, interoceptive awareness of the body rather than just the thinking. And then that way you can actually hold your breath for longer because you're not burning up that fuel with thinking all the time. So some real interesting points here to be thinking about. So number one, we're talking about this idea that we're overusing our thinking brain and sending too much blood and oxygen to that way. And then number two, what we're trying to do is shift the focus more internally into the body awareness. Now, this is the first step in my posture habit model, where I'm talking about how do you improve your posture. It's not through all these external gadgets, although they can be helpful. But the idea is that you start to build this awareness in the body so that you can catch yourself if you are hunched over a computer screen or you're stressed. You get there before the pain, because right now we live in more of a health deprivative society where we only start to address our health once we're sick. I kind of joke that it's not really the healthcare model that we have right now, it's a sick care model that we have. You only go to the doctor when you're sick, or you only seek help when you're sick. What if instead we start thinking about treating the body when we're feeling healthy, and then how can we make ourselves that much more healthier as we go to avoid sickness? Obviously you can't 100% avoid it, it's part of life, and it can be building the immune system at the same time as it goes along and learns. A little bit of AI there. But how can we start to build this interoceptive awareness, or body awareness, or kinesthetic awareness, as I might call it, and you'll hear in some of my other videos? How do we build that awareness so that we can stay more focused in the body? And it's fantastic when you start to see other methods starting to talk about this stuff. Everyone's saying the same thing now. At some point you can't avoid it, and you either learn the lesson and you take it away and you start to implement it in your daily life, or you drop it, you go shopping for another method, just to find that they're going to be saying the same things in a slightly different language. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone's got their own method and technique that they're going to speak to. But if you're watching this video, chances are Wim Hof method is something that you understand and is speaking to you. So if it does, let's just take the takeaways. Let's remove everything else, as Wim would say. Let's remove all the crap. And let's just think about some of the key components here, and you can try and pretty it up as much as you like, but just think about it in these very simple, basic terms. Start to shift your mind away from this chronic, constant thinking. Start to bring it back down into the body, but not just once or twice during the day. How can we start to maintain that? What if that was our goal? What if that was our focus on maintaining that awareness of the body on a day-to-day basis? And what a difference that could actually have an effect on our life. Now, what's so nice from my point of view is I'm talking about this from changing a behavioral pattern for improving posture, removing tension and getting rid of pain. But what's nice about the Wim Hof method is they've got the energy and a little bit of the finance and influence to start building some science towards this. So please do go and check that out. Start looking at the science now of this interoceptive awareness. Start to build this awareness of the body. You will start to notice you're feeling healthier, happier, and more active, because you're bringing yourself away from this thinking component, which is always just a judgment. Dr. Tricia Smith was saying how mindfulness is being present without judgment. And I think that's such a nice definition, because you can ask yourself, well, how mindful am I? And in any situation, you could be there. Let's say you're listening to a partner or a work colleague, or in any other situation. Are you judging that situation, or are you listening? And I like to go another step further and say, are you listening with the body, or are you listening with the mind and judging what they're saying? So anyway, I said I was going to keep this very short. So please make sure you head back and check out the other videos on the ice baths and the breathing. Obviously, this is a topic I'm very passionate about. So if you're interested in a little bit more information about getting back down into the body, how that can aid you in living a healthier, active, happy life, then please do subscribe to the YouTube channel below and check out some of the other videos there. I'd love to hear more about your Wim Hof experience and how it's helped you with mind control. Sounds a little bit weird, but I mean, really it's trying to get a better understanding, shifting away from the mind and more back into the body. Then please do leave some comments below. I'd love to connect a little bit more with you about that as well. Please head over to visionbodymind.com and check out the free 5-day posture challenge, which is my way of trying to get people to work with the interoceptive component. It's free, 5 mini meditations. The first one is just 2.5 minutes, builds up to about 5 minutes, so less than 5 minutes a day for 5 days is your challenge. Is can you start to build the awareness of your head position and then head posture in front of the computer screen? so that you can start to create a new posture habit. It's something that we've started to move away from. It's something that you learned maybe about the age of 6, when you went from this awesome running around all the time to then being hunched over a desk for 6 to 8 hours a day for about 20 years of your life. So we kind of learn this kind of hunched round position. And what we're saying is, how can you now create that using the latest science of behavioral cognitive therapy and techniques? How can we start to change this, reverse that loop, replace it with a new loop, which is in fact now a more positive, better posture habit? So it's pretty simple, pretty easy, but the first step is a free 5-day posture challenge for you to do that. So head over to visionbodymind.com. You'll see it there on the homepage, how to sign up. You just get sent a free mini meditation Monday through till 5 days on the Friday, and then start working with your interoceptive component there. All the best with your Wim Hof Method training and exercises. Again, if you get the chance, please do check out the Wim Hof experience. It's definitely something that you won't ever regret. It's great to be around all those people. If you enjoyed this video, please do feel free to share this on social media as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, and here's to living a healthy, active, happy life.